Hey, hey! I am so excited for today's episode for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is our debut on YouTube, so you'll get to see me on video. And also because I am beyond excited to introduce you to someone who has become one of my closest friends. We've never met in real life, but we do text and chat every day. She's a coach, I'm a coach, and we've definitely been clients of one another. She's here to share how God has used her in her story. So, the title, His Glory in Her Story. And also to talk about her new book, Christ Over Cookies, that was released today, April 15th. And before I forget, towards the end of the interview, she and I are talking about a worship singer who we could not think of the name of during the interview, but I wanted to add this piece of audio for you who are listening and not watching. It's Lauren Daigle, but I couldn't think of her name at the time, so I wanted to add it here in case you're wondering who we're talking about. All right, that's it. It's time to heal thy spirit for a healthy spirit. And let's listen to His Glory in Her Story with Malaika Burley. Hey, busy lady. Welcome to the Heal Thy Spirit podcast. Do you want to stop procrastinating and stay motivated to get things done? Are you a time-starved night owl constantly searching for ways to have time freedom? Do you wake up most mornings with audacious goals only to get distracted and overwhelmed when your busy life sidetracks your agenda? Then, instead of focusing on your to-do list, you've wasted countless hours scrolling Facebook ads for goal planners and habit trackers because all your multitasking has robbed the mental clarity you need to stay on target. Well, sis, you're in the right place. I, too, was juggling work, kids, and multiple responsibilities. I felt exhausted and disorganized and wished I could establish efficient daily habits and routines. I wanted more time, a flexible schedule, and a plan I could stick to. Actually finish what I'd started. I used to think everyone else's needs should come first, and I truly believed chasing my own dreams was selfish, until I discovered my secret ingredient: success coaching mixed with a little planning and a lot of prioritization. In this podcast, you'll get useful time-saving tools, habit hacks, and the accountability to ignite your own fire so you can hit those targets and confidently crush your goals. I'm a talker and a no-holds-barred kind of teacher, so go grab one of those pretty little notebooks I know you've been hoarding. Girl, me too. It's crush time. Hello. Welcome back to episode 22 of the Heal Thy Spirit podcast. Today is our YouTube debut. And also the first time that I am welcoming a guest to the show. I am beyond thrilled to have my coach, my friend, and my sister in Christ here with us today, Malaika Burley. Malaika, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me and also trusting me with your Sashas. I appreciate that. My name is Malaika Burley. I am a mom of 4 in Florida. I'm a weight loss mentor, and I usually say transformational coach, but I'm switching that up to breakthrough coach. And now I get to also say I am an author. So I have a new book coming out. I'm super excited about it. Yeah.
So great. So great. So why don't you give us a little background on your story? First, go ahead and tell us what the book is called and how you came about to become an author.
Yeah, so the book is Christ Over Cookies, Winning the War Between Feeding Your Faith and Fueling Your Faith. And it's funny because I am on a personal journey as well, and I forgot to mention that, but I'm on a personal weight loss journey. So it's part of the reason I call myself a weight loss mentor is because it's like I've been there, done that. So let me show you what I've done to get to where I am today. And at this point in my journey, I have lost over 80 pounds. I started back in November of 2020. And when I started that journey, I decided to share my story on YouTube and I wanted to, hopefully inspire some others that may have wanted to lose. I wanted to, and still do, want to lose about 200 pounds. I'm not sure exactly what the number is quite yet, but somewhere around 200 pounds. And so I was like, this is going to be a long journey. I want to have some accountability for myself. So I know if I show up on YouTube weekly, that was going to give me accountability. And then also, like I said, I wanted to inspire others. And what happened through that is that as I was growing closer to the Lord, He started really transitioning me in business to where this turned into a business. That's why I'm now a weight loss mentor and coach. Sorry about my dog in the background, but that's why I'm a weight loss mentor and coach, because originally going in, I was not planning on this being a business. I was actually selling jewelry at the time. So He transitioned all of this and really led me to what He wanted me to do in and through this journey. So yeah, the weight loss mentoring business came through that. And then this book also evolved through that as well.
Nice. So what do you think the number one driving force, because you mentioned you lost over 80 pounds. How long have you been on this weight loss journey?
So I started back in November of 2020. That was this final time when I really got serious and was like, okay, this is the time I'm doing this.
Yeah. So when you say, when you really got serious, what do you think was the number one thing that kept you going this time? What's different from all the other times? I'm sure you like me and a lot of people listening, if you've ever tried to lose weight, it's not a one and done deal for most people.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I have lost weight and gained it before multiple times. I would think the thing for me this time that really kept me going and like I said, was the driving force was it was just something really practical. And I know you actually even teach this on your podcast, but it was just making it really simple and doing one thing at a time. That was really what helped me this time and what helped me stick with it. Because before I would try to do all the things all at once and it wouldn't last for very long. Wouldn't be able to stick with it. And eventually I would end up gaining weight, any of the weight back that I had lost. And so this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to just make this really simple for me. And just do one thing at a time. And that's what I did. And as I worked on one habit, then once I mastered that, then I would work on the next thing and the next thing. And so that's part of the reason also why it's been 80 pounds since 2020, because I'm not trying to rush it. I'm just trying to work on building that healthier lifestyle and doing something that I know that I can sustain and that I can do for life so that I can actually keep the weight off this time. Yeah.
I love that you say that about, it's been since 2020, but I mean, that's still we're talking about 2.5, not quite, not even 2.5 years yet. And you're down 80 pounds. And, you talk about this in your book also, I don't want to get you started because this is supposed to be a short podcast, but diet culture and how it, conditions us to believe, that we have to do that one new thing or that this is the guaranteed answer. And obviously there wouldn't be so many options if there was one answer for everyone. So I love that you definitely touch on that in the book. And you didn't mention that, well, first, I guess I'll let you say if you have anything to add about diet culture or save it for the book.
No, I'm not going to go there because you're right. We want to keep it short. But yeah, mainly I don't cut out anything with what I'm doing. I don't do any dieting in particular. I eat what I want to eat, and I do focus on a calorie deficit, and that's how I'm losing the weight. But again, it's even within that, it's still, focusing on, okay, what's the one thing that's going to serve me the best? Like, what's the one habit that I want to change within this to be able to move forward and keep this weight off, and something that's going to benefit me for life, and using that and working that within the calorie deficit that I work with to lose weight. So yes, no dieting, no cutting out any food groups or anything like that. That's not the way I roll.
Yeah.
So,
And Malaika is really humble. She does not like to talk about how great she is, but she is great. And I don't say that. And like I said, we've never met in real life, but I mean,
yeah.
she really is like we talk every day, and she's one of the people that I cherish most in life. And it's not just because she's a coach, but she is really a good person. And it's been, like I said, we kind of reverse roles because I used to be her coach. And
right.
I mean, we still coach each other. It's still happening,
Yes, we
all
do.
day, every day. But
Yes.
it's funny because you mentioned, I've been hearing you talk about the book and talking about the promotion and, all the things, and, how often when I moved across the country and I would get the time wrong because I can't, do math and figure out the difference between Mountain and Eastern time the right way. But she always talks about, I'm a math person. And, with this book, and yesterday, if you guys check out her YouTube channel, she did kind of a book reveal. And she says, I'm a math person. I don't know how I became an author or whatever. So tell us, how did you become an author? And how did you really, I guess, what issues, if any, did you have with, completing the thing? Because, here we talk about procrastination and, we're not finishers and all the things that get in the way, that get in our head about not being able to do that, accomplish that dream that God's put on our heart. How did you get past your self-identification as math person to write a whole book? I've read the book, y'all. It's so good. And she's an English person too, just so you know. Well, you will know when you go out and buy the book.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely had to get over some mental hurdles to be able to do it. One of the things, though, that really helped me is actually having the coaching with you last year about scheduling and timing. And the fact that I had that last year actually helped me getting it accomplished this year. And it's funny because this is the first time that I've had a self-imposed deadline. And I actually met that deadline for myself. And so I attributed that to the coaching. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So it really did help me. But as far as trying to see myself as an author or an English person, instead of just a math person, I had to get through with the thought of just thinking that, I wasn't good enough. Like, one of my favorite things to do and my favorite pastimes is to read. Like, that's just been something I've loved since I was younger. And so I've read a lot of books. And so writing this book with the mentality that I'm a math person, I was constantly thinking this isn't good enough. I'm comparing myself to other authors, that I've read, which were many, many, because of the fact that I read many books. And I got to where multiple times I was reading through what I was writing down over and over again, because I was just thinking it didn't sound good enough. What do I need to change? And it got to the point where it wasn't even making any sense to me anymore, because I would read through it so many times. And what helped me with getting over that, one, was having friends that encouraged me, and not just friends that were just like, yes, friends, not just the friends that'll just tell you something's good when it wasn't, friends that were genuine and would encourage and support me, let me know if something wasn't good that I needed to change. So that was one thing that really helped me, having that support and that accountability. And the other thing was knowing that this was something that God gave me to do. And because it's something that he gave me to do, if I just would allow him to do it through me, then he was going to make sure that whatever words needed to be on the page were on the page for the women that he wanted this book to reach. So I will say that those two things were really big for me. The friends that were supportive, and also knowing that this was a mission and this is a part of my call.
Right. Good. So good. And you mentioned, community and friends. And That's a perfect segue into my next question, because here's what I was going to say before I asked you that question and, got sidetracked like the squirrel that I am, is that Malaika does not like to talk about how great she is. When she introduced herself, she didn't even talk about the Overweighted podcast, which is, definitely a part of my Wednesday every week. That's the one. There's like 3 podcasts that I do listen to consistently now that I don't have a commute, and Overweighted Podcast is one of them, because I know it's going to be there. It fits into my schedule, and it always has good information. But in one of the episodes, you were talking about when you went to give up soda. And you told your son, you invited him to be your accountability partner. So you talked about friends, and, I always definitely, promote, when you're trying to reach a goal, have someone hold you accountable. And that's something that you preach constantly. I know I've taken your courses as well. And, another side note, I lost 13 pounds in the last course that we just did, that we just finished here a couple of days ago. So she knows what she's doing. But in your episode, you mentioned that you had told your son, you kind of commissioned him to be your accountability, and said, hey, next time we go to the store, don't let me buy soda. And, being the good son that he is, doing what his mama tells him, he wouldn't let you get soda. So can you tell us a little bit, like, if you can think about the feeling, because I don't think you went as in depth, and, I don't want to give away too much from the book, but because you talked about it on the podcast, I figured it'd be okay to bring it up. How you felt that day, and, when you look back on that, how, what's the difference now? Like,
So, so in the beginning, one of the things that I knew I needed to change, and that would serve me well, was giving up the soda. Like you mentioned, I was at a point where I was drinking about 2 liters of soda a day, and no water whatsoever. And for us, we should typically drink at least 2 liters of water a day. And so I was having what I should have had in water in soda. And I knew that was something big for me that I needed to change. And so that was really one of the first things I tackled on this weight loss journey when I started this time. And so I knew it was something that was going to be hard for me, because I had been doing it for so many years and really didn't want to give it up, but I knew that it would be most beneficial for me to do it. So, because, the benefits of water and all that good stuff. And so I actually told all my kids, not that I'm going to not drink soda so much. And in the beginning, I decided to give it up completely for 2 weeks, but then I was going to go back and have it, but just not as regularly. And so I told the kids, that I'm going to be giving up soda. And so I told my oldest son, because he's the one that will typically ride with me to the store, to the convenience store, or even grocery shopping. And so I told him, okay, when I go, don't let me get soda. And I would say that was a mistake, but it was really a good thing. So when we got to the soda, the store, I don't know if it was the very next day. I don't remember what day it was, but because one of my routines was always going to the convenience store, getting soda, getting a sweet, ice cream or something. And so we were on this trip to go to the store to get some snacks. And when I went to the cooler to try to grab a soda. And he was like, no, mommy, you said you didn't want to drink soda. And I was just like, I know, but I'll just start tomorrow. I'll just go ahead, and this will be my last one. I'll start tomorrow. This will be my last one. He's like, no, you said not to let you get soda. And I was like, I know I said that, but I'm just going to have this last one. Let me, I'll just go ahead and get it. And he was like, no. And I was like, for real, I'm getting this soda. I started getting a little upset. I'm like, for real, I'm going to get this. It's going to be the last one. And I started trying to open the cooler, and he would shut the cooler. And by the way, my son, who he's about 5'9" and I am 5'5.5". So he's taller than me and broader than me. So he's, shutting the door, not letting me get it. And I was like, seriously, I'm just going to get this. So and he's like, no, you said to tell you no, you said not to let you get it. And I started crying in that store because I wanted the soda so badly. And I don't know, like I realized at that point how much control that had over me. And I knew after that, and I wouldn't say I knew right in that second, in that moment, but I was like, yeah, I got to give this up. Like this, nothing, especially no food, should have this much control over me, to the point that I'm angry at my son because I was getting mad at him. And that I'm in the store crying because I can't have this thing. And it's something that's not even beneficial for me. Yeah, it tastes good and it fires all the things off in my brain, but really health-wise, it's no benefit to me whatsoever. So yeah, I knew at that point, I've got to stop. Yeah, I've got to stop this. It's time to make a change.
Exactly. Yeah. So let me ask you this. How often do you drink soda now? When's the last time you had soda?
Well, I just had one today, actually. Talk about the timing on that. But so I do drink soda still, but it's nowhere near like it was. It's not daily at all. Really what I've said is that I'm only going to have it like if I go out to restaurants, if I happen to go out to eat. And today we did end up having, like, we went out and got pizza. So that's why I had soda today. So yeah, so it's one of those things that I don't want to say it's a treat because, like I said, soda's not even really even beneficial for you, but it's just one of those things that I have to put boundaries around it to make sure that I don't get back to that point where I'm having it all the time and not having the soda and not having water. And so by me only having it when I go out to eat, or like if it's a special occasion or something like that, then that's setting that boundary around it that, okay, I get to have this thing at this time and that's it. Because like I said, I don't want it to get back to the point where I'm having it constantly again.
Yeah. And you're controlling this situation and it's not controlling you.
Yes. Amen. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I love that story. And then one other thing that I want you to talk about that I pulled from the podcast. And it was when I was in the car listening to it, and you talked about in one of your prior weight loss journeys that you had this mantra you used to say. Well, here on the Heal That Spirit podcast, we're very big on declarations or affirmations, as some people call them, mantras even. And I can't remember it like off the top of my head, but I remember when I was in the car and I heard you say it, I literally was laughing out loud. Like I'm driving down the street, laughing out loud, like I'm listening to Kevin Hart comedy special, because it was so funny. And two things, I was like, okay, number one, how have I known Malaika this long and never heard her say this? And number two, why didn't I think of it myself? So now that you're on my show, I won't get in trouble for plagiarism. You can't sue me because I'm going to have you say it and share it with them so that they can come up with their own, let's do this thing mantra to get them through whatever it is they're trying to get through.
Yes, that's so funny. And that was something like just so random that I was decided to add into the podcast that day. So that's so funny. I'm glad it made you laugh. But when I was on a weight loss journey, like you said previously, because I had been there multiple times, this was probably back in like 2001. When I did this. And so at that point, I wanted to get down to a size 10. And so that was my first goal. That was my first initial goal in that weight loss journey. And so I decided to come up with this mantra so that whenever I would have cravings or anything like that, I would say this to myself to remind me not to, indulge in whatever it was. And so I would say, I'm size 10, I'm thin, and this is a battle I can win. I'm size 10, I'm thin, and this is a battle I can win. It was like my war cry, I guess.
I
But
love
yeah,
it
and
though.
what's so funny is that I got down to a size 10. I'm doing that. I was saying it, I was declaring it, and and affirming it, and I got down to a size 10 in that weight loss journey at that time. So it worked. It worked.
Yeah. So I see the book back there in the corner. Do you want to show it to us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry, I
And
didn't mean to
knock down
make
my
you knock
butterfly.
down your
No, it's all right.
decorations.
I know. It's all right. Yeah, so this is the book. It's Christ Over Cookies, Winning the War Between Feeding Your Faith and Fueling Your Faith. And obviously this is a proof copy, so that's why it has an extra bar across the middle of the cover for those of you listening on audio and you can't see it. But on the front, I'm holding the Bible. And then when you flip it over on the back, I'm holding a package of cookies. And so that's a nod to the title, Christ Over Cookies. So exciting. It's so exciting holding it in my hands.
Yeah, it is. It was exciting for me, and particularly because, as I mentioned, I used to be your coach, on a regular basis, and we went through lots of, goals and revamping what you were going to be working on in your business and the things that you were going to be doing. And last year, book was not on that list. So where did this come from?
Yeah,
what inspired you to write it
now? Right. I know. Yeah, it's so funny because the Lord, so every year I would do like a vision board, and I would kind of sit and ask God, okay, what should I put on here? Previously, I would just put whatever I wanted to. But a couple years ago, I felt led to put book on there. And if you remember, I was saying a couple years ago, I wasn't doing weight loss mentoring, coaching, none of that kind of stuff related to weight loss, but I just felt led to put book. So I put a picture of a book on my vision board. I didn't know what the book was going to be. I started coming up with ideas of what I thought the book would be. At the time, I was in network marketing, so I thought it would have something to do with helping moms because I'm a single mom with 4 and then also running a business. So I thought it would be something related to that. And also at the time when I first put it on there, I was, back to that thought of I'm not an author. How am I going to write this? I don't know what to say, back to that thinking, but I just put it on there. I also was feeling like it wasn't the time yet. And then again, the next year, I put it on my vision board again because I felt led to put it on there. And at the end of last year, I decided to fast going into this new year. So the last 3 days of last year, and just seek God for what he wanted me to do moving forward for this year. And so I felt that he was telling me this year I was going to be writing the book. And coming into the year, when I sat with him, he also told me what the book was going to be about, because I had no idea previously what this book was going to be about. And so that's how I ended up with having one of the main goals for this first quarter of the year was to get this book done and write the book. And yeah, he was just showing me that it was going to be Christ Over Cookies, which was a workshop that I had gotten as a download, last year, this past year. And what's funny is that when he was showing me to write the book for this quarter, and I felt led that April 15th would be the date for the book to be published, to launch the book. And I didn't realize it at the time, but when I went back, April 15th last year was the first Christ Over Cookies workshop. So it's really cool how he just tied it together. Because like I said, this wasn't anything that I was just coming up with, in my goals. This was what I really felt that he was leading me to do. And so to see that it was tied back into that very first Christ Over Cookies workshop that it had last year was just really cool. So yeah, that's why book was not on there. I knew I was supposed to write one, but I didn't know what, and I didn't know when until the end of last year.
Yeah, and to clarify for those, because the people listening might not know you, but this is what she calls it when she gets ideas from God. It's her Holy Spirit downloads.
Yes.
Because, again, like I said, I love her so much, and pretty much everything she touches, I love. And I always ask, like, where do you come up with this stuff? And it's just completely natural. It's not rehearsed. It's not anything where she's going and doing research for days and days and trying to figure out who's doing it. I mean, I'm sure some of that's, involved in what you do in your business, but just because I know you, I know it's not about, making a buck. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to make money doing the things that we do, but that's not the intent going into it. That's not the goal. The goal is to help people by telling your story. And that's why I was like, it's so perfect that, Malaika is doing this thing and it's right in this time. And I have this segment on the podcast that I want to start doing. And, so many things that, God just works it together. I call them God incidences, not coincidences. They're God incidences.
Yes. So, that's good. So that's good.
I love it. Love it. Love it. The one more question about the book. What made you decide, or why did you feel that there also had to be a counterpart or devotional, the 40-day devotional that you added? I know when you were brainstorming, you were going back and forth. Should I make 2 separate books or should I put them all together? How did you come up with the final decision that it was going to all be together? And what do you think the importance of having that devotional is?
Yeah, so there was multiple reasons I came to the decision to include it as a part of the book. The main reason, I'm just going to be really honest with you guys, is I didn't want the book to be too short. Because if you look at the book, when you get it, half the book is the book and half of it is the devotional. And so I didn't want the book to be too short. And so I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and add the devotional in here. And that way it'll be longer. And of course, I could have published it. It probably would have landed around 90 to 100 pages without the devotional. But one, like I said, I didn't want it to be too short. And then also, like you mentioned, yes, I want to make money, but I also want to help people. And so one of my things is that I didn't want to have people buy 2 books. Like I wanted it to just all together, so it would be less cost financially, and then also so that they could get the help that they needed fully in one book. And then the other reason is that I know how important fasting was for me in giving up sweets, and so I wanted to make sure that the 40-day devotional was a part of the book because of the impact that it had on me. Because a part of the devotional, there's a challenge going into the devotional to give up something, to give up some sweet, give up whatever your favorite food is. And I know when I started doing that in this last year as a part of what I was doing on my weight loss journey and my spiritual journey, that was the one thing that really helped to break that addiction to sweets that I had. So I wanted to make sure that was a part of the book and that it was all together. So.
Cool. Thank you. All right. This is the last question, or the last serious question, because I did sneak some, what do you call it? I'm going to call them spirit sprints, where I'm going to just ask you 5 quick questions off the top of your head that have nothing to do with the topic that we're talking about.
Okay.
And because that's the thing that I'm going to be doing with his glory and her story. So you get to be my guinea pig. So you published this book yourself, and that is, self-publishing is kind of a buzzword for, a lot of entrepreneurs today, because, a lot of people who have something to teach or a story to tell do it in the format of a book. And people think that it's really hard to get a book published. It's really expensive to get a book published. So could you give us kind of, in case there's anybody listening that maybe wants to write a book but doesn't think it's a possibility for them, give us the Cliff Notes version, of what goes into it, as far as, how do you get started if that's a thing that you're interested in doing?
Yeah, I think self-publishing has come a long way now, especially with Amazon. Amazon KDP is one of the major self-publishing outlets. And that's also where if you're self-publishing, that most of your sales are probably going to come from Amazon if you list your book there. And then I think Barnes and Noble also has a self-publishing division of their company now as well. I think they started it because Amazon started capturing so much of the business. And so because of that, now you can find multiple opportunities to get your book out there and to get it out there simply and for almost next to nothing. And so if you want to self-publish, obviously write your book, get your book written. That's going to be the first thing. And then what you want to do is really decide what your goal is for the book. Like if you are a business person and you want to drive people towards your business, or if you want to just become an author and just sell books, that I think is going to have a big impact on your decision, whether you want to find a publisher or self-publish. And I do want to say too, there are companies out there that offer self-publishing services, but some of them are scams. So you have to really be careful with that and do your research. But if you just want to 100% do it yourself, like what I did with this book, then once you get it written, you get it formatted, you can then you just create your accounts on Amazon. It's called KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. It's Amazon KDP. You set up your account there. And I also then set up one with Barnes and Noble Press. That's the one for self-publishing there. And you basically upload your manuscript in there. It's going to need to be formatted. You're going to need your cover design and all that stuff. If you can't do that, that's something that you can hire out for other people. But you can attempt to do it yourself. But I would just get multiple opinions about it before you do that, because we do judge books by the cover. So even though we're not supposed to. But yeah, you just basically are uploading it and then you publish it. And once you publish it, luckily on Amazon, they'll get it out there. Barnes and Noble is going to do the same thing. And then there is another company that I'm using called Draft 2 Digital. It's the Digit 2, and they are getting the ebook out. So it's going to be ebook and paperback. And so Draft 2 Digital gets the ebook out to everywhere else, like Scribd, Apple Books, and all those other places as well. So, I mean, it's so simple. And all that, you can do it for free and it won't cost you anything. The only cost I had was for my ISBN. That's the number that they put on the barcode back here, because I wanted to publish it in multiple places. But if you only want to have it on Amazon, you can get one for free from Amazon and just sell it through Amazon, because 80% of the sales are going to probably come through there anyway. So yeah, so you can do it for free. It's just a matter of you getting the book done and getting the cover done and getting it formatted and uploaded, and you're all set to go.
Yeah. And it's great. Hold it up again. It's so great. I love it so much because, you were saying in your reveal, it's a book. It's a real actual book, and it is.
Yes.
And you did that cover yourself. You designed it and did everything. So you didn't hire a photographer. You didn't hire a graphic designer. You didn't hire anybody to do anything. You pretty much did this book 100% Malaika.
Yes, I did. I did.
And let me tell y'all, she told me in January that she was writing a book. And she also told me that she was going to release it April 15th, because we had another plan for April 15th this year that was going to happen. And we always talk about sometimes you have to shift what you thought your plan was because something else, is more of a priority. And she told me the first week of January that she was going to write this book and that she was going to, it was going to drop on April 15th. And I lied to you not. She was ready to go. Like she was, eyes forward. She knew what she wanted. She knew what God wanted. And she did what she needed to do. She used the things that she's learned in life to write the book. And, to share it with you. And it really is, a gift to anybody who, wants to read it or buy it for friends. I told her I'm going to buy so many copies and give them to everybody for everything. Tell us more about the book real quick. How can they get it? Because it comes out today. If you're listening or watching today, you'll be able to access it. Even if you're listening after, obviously, you'll still be able to get it. So tell them where to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this book is for women basically like me. So you're a woman of faith and you are struggling with losing weight, and you probably are going through that cycle of losing weight, gaining, and you just can't figure out why you're not able to lose the weight and keep it off. And so I really answer a lot of the questions of, what the problem is, why you may be struggling to lose the weight and keep it off, and why you may only be addressing a part of the problem when there's other things going on as well. And so the book also kind of helps you to coach yourself through the process. There's some steps that you go through in the book. And then, like Tia mentioned, there's also the devotional at the end. So that way you can extend the journey over 40 days after you get done reading the book. But you can get it. It'll be available a paperback on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and also ebook wherever you purchase ebooks, Apple Books, anything, anywhere you get ebooks, you'll be able to get it there as well. But if you go to ChristOverCookies.com, the links for all the places will be there. So that'll make it a lot easier for you to grab it. So just ChristOverCookies.com.
Awesome. And I'll put all of that in the show notes, along with, Malaika is, you have her podcast, the Overweighted Podcast. You can listen to it on whatever you want to listen to it on. And Instagram. What are you on Instagram?
Yep, on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, I'm Malaika Burley in all places. So makes it really simple.
Very, very easy. So I'll make sure that I have the spelling correct for you. The links will be there, so you don't really have to know how to spell if you're, not an English person like me. All right. So before we go, I'm going to do this spirit sprint really quick. So The first is just 5 questions, and they're silly. Some of them are silly. I don't know. But number 1, what are you currently reading, or what's the last book you read besides Christ Over Cookies? Most people that I ask this question to are not going to be authors, but
yeah, I was going to say this book. So the book I'm reading right now actually is the Prophet's Devotional that I'm going through right now. So that is the last book and current book that I'm reading.
Okay. What song is on your playlist if you open Spotify right now?
There are multiple songs.
But what's going to be the first one? What's the first one that's going to play?
Yes, I'm checking. So Jesus, Lover of My Soul is the one that's next on my playlist
and
right now.
That?
In your podcast. That is by Tasha Cobbs Leonard. Is that how you say her last name? Yeah. Leonard, Tasha Cobbs, and the Walls Group. It's a collab that they did. But yeah, that's the next one that's on the playlist I have going.
I always ask about her music because I do her fitness classes, and, it's music. I'm an equal opportunity listener, so I listen to all types of music. But I've only maybe in the last year and a half or 2 years really gotten into spiritual music, or, gospel music, is, my mama calls it when she grew up, or worship music. And it's, it's great. And so I value her opinion there. I said Spotify.
It's come such a long way.
It has. It's really good music. I mean, you hear it on, secular radio stations play worship music. I've heard songs like the one lady, I forget her name right now, but it doesn't matter. We'll get back to it.
Oh, I know I'll you're talking about.
But the one girl,
I know, it's like on the tip of my tongue.
When I was listening to the song, when I first heard it, I'm gonna have to look it up and tell you. But I did not even know
what you're talking about.
I did not even know that she was, a worship singer. And then I learned from a friend, actually the wedding that I'm going to this weekend. The girl that's getting married, she can sing. She's not a singer, like she is a singer, but she does not get paid to sing. But she was singing that song. And number one, it surprised me that she was singing the song because I didn't, think that she would listen to that kind of music. But I didn't even know that it was a spiritual, like when I went, after I heard her sing the song, I was like, oh yeah, I love that song. I need to download that song. And then I started doing research on it and realized that it was a faith song. And I was like, wow. But she told me that, she doesn't even keep her money. Like she sings, she writes songs and she sings and she does it for the Lord. Like, really, I mean, that made me love her even more. But I'll put it in the show notes or something, or I'll add a little short name, to the end. But I can't get it. It's like when I listen to all of her music. But anyway, back to the spirit sprint. You thought you were off the hook. Number 3, and this is a loaded question, obviously for you again because you're the first person. But salty or sweet? What's your weakness, and specifically what? I'll never guess.
I know. It's Christ over cookies for a reason. Sweet is my weakness, but I do like salty and sweet mixed together. Like if I'm going to the movies, goobers and popcorn together. Like that would be my thing.
I don't do that.
No, I love salty and sweet mix. But if I had to choose one, definitely sweets. And it would be an ice cream cookie sandwich would be my thing. That would be my thing.
Nice.
It used to be cake. But yes, ice cream cookies.
Get me on that Publix cake that we don't have Publix out here, so I don't get to go there. Pepsi or Coke?
Now it's Pepsi. When the soda habit started, it was Coke, but I tried to switch to Pepsi thinking I would drink less. That didn't work. But now it's Pepsi.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, definitely, with lots of creamer.
I always make fun of her coffee because it's so light. I'm like, she likes a little bit of coffee in her cream.
Yes.
Well, that is all that I have for you guys. Is there anything else that you want to say or anything you want to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I would just say to Sasha, just keep going, keep moving forward, working on that one thing at a time. Go back through all the podcast episodes, especially the habit series that Tia just recently did, and just focus on getting that one thing down, that one habit, and just knowing that you can do this. Just keep moving forward, working on that one thing. And when you master that, then work on the next. Don't worry about trying to do it all. Don't worry about when you do it, especially for us procrastinators, but just work on it little by little every day, one thing at a time, and you'll get where you want to go.
So that's excellent advice. And I did not tell her to plug the podcast, in that she just did that all on her own because that's who she is. Thank you, Malaika. It was so fun. I'm glad that we got to say, I always love to talk to you anyway, but to be able to share and let people eavesdrop on this conversation has been great. So thank you for being here. And
thank you guys for listening and watching. And, let us know what you thought. Go buy her book, go follow her, check out her YouTube, and, learn some things. All right. See you next time. Thank you, ladies, for hanging out with me today. It's been a blast. Now, if today's episode was good for you and the spirit leads, please write a review to help others find us and receive some of the value that you got today. Okay, until next time, I'll see you over in the Healthy Spirit Facebook group. Link is in the show notes for you procrastinators. May grace and peace be yours in abundance. Take care.